we will get started with our official cocktails and coaching for today, what is it, July 15th, 14th, something like that. My computer's probably telling me, but
today's the 14th.
There you go, July 14th. And I am in Huntington Beach in my new place, and we got Joyce in Pennsylvania, and we wish others of you would join us. So we're going to try to get this habit going on Zoom, where we've been doing it in the Facebook group, because for some reason Facebook has blocked me out of doing lives in the Facebook group, and with no real explanations, but there's nothing I can do about it. So we've had so much fun doing cocktails and coaching. I hate to kind of toss it to the side, and I'm not sure of a better virtual platform. So I'm going to put this recording in the Facebook group, which is how anybody else is seeing it, besides Joyce being here with me, so that we can just be reminded. We'll do it, same time on Wednesdays, just be joining by Zoom. And if you're on my email list, you're getting an email with the link about an hour and a half before we start. If you're not on my email list and you want to be, so you get that and other stuff, I usually email twice a week with the podcast and then another blog, and then the cocktails and coaching reminder. If you're not on the email list, just put that in the comments or private message me or something, and I'll get you in the email list, because that's where everybody knows first if they're on my email list. That's just the easiest way for me to communicate. And there you are with your glass of white wine. That's excellent. I'm doing plain old water today. I haven't totally recovered from my move. I'm a little tired. But I've been filling myself with electrolytes and those like fizzy powdered things that have vitamin B in them that you can put in water, whatever. So anyway, I'm perking back up after the tiring job of moving, but super happy to be here. I'm 2 blocks from the beach. It's just heaven for me. I'm just so happy to be in my spot and to be here in Huntington Beach. So that being said, Joyce, do you have any hot topic, any drama, anything going on you want to chat about tonight?
I didn't get to hear the story. Did you do it on a different meeting about how you ended up where you are?
Oh, well, not exactly. Sure, we can do that. So, I've given drips and drabs of it here and there, but the short version, but from kind of beginning to here, is that actually it started 4 years ago on July 17th. So I just think it's funny how even though I had no idea 4 years ago, in 2017, on July 17th, I went to Paris, and I was going on a retreat with a coach, Susan Hyatt, she was part of the team that trained me in my coach training program I was in. And she does a big part of her business is training coaches to help them, start run an online coaching practice and whatever. So I have followed her from the beginning, and she did a retreat that year in Paris, and I went with her, and we arrived on July 17th. And I was working at the time in real estate. I was a regional president with a big real estate company in Pennsylvania. And I was on the airplane dozing, right, because it's the middle of the night. And I thought the man next to me said something to me. I thought he said, "It's you, you're the one." Like, that's what I heard so audibly that I kind of woke myself up and looked, because it was like I heard it in my head, and like another person was saying it. And he's watching a movie, with his headphones in. So I'm like, okay, he wasn't saying it. Like, it was this inner voice. And so I kind of doze off again, and then I got it again. "It's you, you're the one." And I was just like, wow, like, that's weird. I don't usually kind of get like the God sounding voice in my head, but I'm on my way to this retreat. I intend to be transformational. So that's kind of a fun way to start. Oh, here comes Nilla. So we go, hey, sweetie, how are you? You are back in Pennsylvania. Oh, you're connecting to audio. We'll give you a moment. There you are. You are back in PA.
Hey, I am.
Hey, sweetie. Nilla just got back from Sweden. She was visiting her family. So for the first time since, before COVID. So nice to have you back home though. So Joyce asked me my story about how I got here to Huntington Beach. So I realized so much. I mean, Nilla knows all the down and dirty of the whole thing, but it's so interesting now that I'm here and the chapter's kind of over, or it probably warrants a whole book, but it is so clear to me. It started when I went to Paris. So I go to this retreat with Susan Hyatt. It's all about your legacy. That was the theme of the week, was our legacy. What did we want to leave in the world? And I left that retreat so sure that my coaching business would be my legacy, not real estate. Not that there was anything wrong with my real estate career. It was great, whatever. But I just really felt like that time is coming to an end. Of course, I thought in my mind that was going to be 2 or 3 more years. I thought I was going to stay in real estate for 2 or 3 more years and then gently transition from real estate into my coaching practice. And it was all just going to be smooth as silk. And then in October, after I got back from that retreat in July, really, in essence, I lost my job. I mean, it was all packaged much nicer than that for my own sake and the company's sake. But that's really what happened. I lost my job. So I got like 6 months of, a package. And so I didn't actually leave them until June of 2018. So it's been right about 3 years since I've been working full time on my business. Soon after that, I had really been wanting to move to Southern California anyway for about 6 or 7 years. And so I'm like, okay, now I can work from anywhere. I might as well, move to California. But of course, it's a little expensive out here. And my business was a tiny baby and I wasn't making a lot of money. But I just felt I don't know how else to say it, but I felt very called. I felt very driven by an inner guide, inner drive to just pack up and come. So I packed up and I came to California the first time. I got here on New Year's Eve. That was 2018, New Year's Day, 2019, the next day. And I spent about 8 months of 2019 out here and just struggled. Nothing I did in my business worked. It was like the harder I tried, the worse it got, and I'm running out of money and all the things. Like, it was just the darkest time of my life. And yet I had a very clear sense that I needed to stay the course, that what was happening for me was it wasn't really even about the business. And it wasn't about the fact that I didn't have very many clients, or any of that stuff. It was a life lesson period for me, I guess is how I'll say that. And so even though, of course, I could have gone and gotten a job, I could have gone back to real estate, I could have done a lot of things to make money and, whatever, but none of those things ever felt right to me. They just, and I don't mean right, like doing something different would be wrong. It didn't feel in alignment with what I was supposed to be doing. I don't know how else to describe it, but that. And even though I could tell, like, even looking at my own life, my choices seemed kind of crazy. Like, I'm sure to Nilla and my family and many of my friends, it was like, why doesn't she just go get a job? Like, why is she suffering like this? But I just felt, like I had to stay this course, and that there was something bigger happening that I didn't understand. And so then I'm flat broke, like barely have gas money to get back to Pennsylvania. Nilla, bless her heart, takes me in, and her husband. So bless his heart, right? Because a lot of husbands wouldn't be cool with, hey, my BFF's going to come live with us indefinitely. So we did that, and then COVID hit, and so then we were really together every day. And then things started getting a little better and my business started growing a little bit. And so, little by little, then by fall last year, 2020, I came back to California and got an Airbnb until the end of January, hoping by the end of January, I'd have enough money and momentum to get an apartment. And so I did that. I didn't have the money yet at the end of January, but the guy that had the Airbnb just let me keep extending it. So I stayed in the same place from October 18th last year to May 31st this year in this Airbnb here. I was in the South Bay area of LA. It's just kind of south of downtown and stuff, toward the beaches, like Redondo Beach and stuff like that, but not as far south as Huntington, which is where I am now. Anyway, I just keep working. I'm doing a little side, by then I got a side hustle job doing some real estate stuff remotely. And so I'm doing that, and I just keep working on my business because I just feel I feel so called to what I'm doing and the people that I'm coaching and helping, and it feels so right. And I can feel who I'm becoming. Like I often say when I'm coaching people, and I've said it here on Cocktails and Coaching, that especially when you're in a really tough spot, being able to ask yourself an empowering question like, what is seeking to emerge, is really great. Because usually when things are horrible, we're asking ourselves, like, why is this happening? When's it going to stop? Why did I make that decision that caused this effect? Or, like whatever, we're in all that. And none of that empowers us. And it doesn't usually ever help us get anywhere. And so I love that question, what is seeking to emerge? And so all this time, I'm in such a deep spiritual journey and asking myself that question and moving towards whatever feels like that, whether it makes sense or not. So I keep plugging away and I'm having more and more clients and making more and more money. So, and then I had this business because Joyce, we met at PAR, right? Not at Suburban West. Yeah.
PAR, okay. You coached us all. You coached all.
Yeah. Yeah. So because I did that program you were in at PAR, Suburban West, like the year I left PAR, asked me to teach a leadership program that a program they developed. Okay. Different, but a similar idea is what PAR did. So typically that's in February, but because of COVID, they delayed that to June this year. So they had already hired me to come in and speak for 2 days. I teach that program in June. And then I planned a retreat for, this work for people that I coach with in June, because I was going to be there. So I wanted to go see Nilla and my kids, and because I've got 2 kids still back there on the East Coast. And so anyway, I kind of lined up these work gigs for June, and then time to visit family and all my work I can do from anywhere. So I gave up my Airbnb in May. I came to Pennsylvania for June, and then I moved in like 2 days after I came back from Pennsylvania last week. I moved into this apartment, and so this is the first time I've had my own home now since November 30th of 2018. And all my stuff has been in storage since then. I mean, it's just been quite a journey. And while it was the most challenging thing I've ever done, I do love who I have become. Like I wouldn't trade it because it's evolved me into someone who is so much more self-trusting, so much more, there's just I think I just understand things at a deeper level than I used to. And so, of course, when I'm coaching people, it's wonderful, because it really, my intuitive abilities and being able to see what's going on kind of unconsciously for the people I'm coaching is much more heightened than it used to be. I mean, I think I was always good at that, but that skill for me is much higher now, much more developed. I think because I had to dig so deep into my own stuff. I mean, I had stuff come up like religious trauma and all kinds of stuff come up during this time that I really thought I had, resolved, or whatever word we would use. I worked on them with a therapist. I mean, I knew they happened in my life. I knew it damaged me. I knew, but I thought I was kind of over it. And then I found these deeper layers where it was limiting me. And so it's been an incredibly liberating journey, and so super sweet to be in this apartment. I'm 2 blocks from the beach, which is my piece of heaven always, is to be at the beach. And just to experience the love and support that I've had from, people close to me, like Nilla and her husband, or my kids, my mom. But then from the community that I've kind of created along the way too, that is super supportive. And just, I got the sweetest message from one of the gals, Karen Kaiser. She's on here often, from Sunday's podcast, that she had listened to that. And she was just sent me a message with a couple sentences about how great that was for her. And the timing was so perfect, and so that's what I live for, right? That I can put this work out and people, use it to make their lives richer, is like the best of the best. So that's the story. That's the, in a nutshell, that's the story.
I always thought you were a coach. I thought you'd always be a coach.
There you go. What's
did.
so obvious to others, sometimes it takes us a little while to get to.
I was flabbergasted when you left PAR, because I thought, she's so good at this. She's just suited. It comes naturally to her. And
Yeah.
why would she leave? And my dog is going to do the in and out thing.
Of course. Of course, that's what they do. The in and out thing.
Well, I'm so happy that you're there in your place now, Brenda. Do you love it? Do you love it?
I love that. You see, my pictures are back where they belong.
I know.
I mean, I just love it. And it's so crazy. I mean, this is a fairly small studio apartment, okay? My stuff that was in my pod for 2.5 years, which I was so afraid, Nilla knows this especially, like I was so afraid. That pod sat closed up in Phoenixville for 2 years, 7 months. And I never knew, because it wasn't even worth asking, because it didn't matter what the answer was. I couldn't do anything different. I didn't know how, like, climate control, like, I don't know if they're sitting outside, if they're in, they just call it a warehouse where they hold the stuff until you tell them to deliver it. But so I just had these terrible fears that I would open that door to the pod and it would all be moldy or stink to high heaven, or just, because Pennsylvania is both so hot and so cold. And nothing, it was great. There was no smell whatsoever. I mean, I'm burying my nose in my mattress and can't smell a thing,
Awesome.
And nothing was broken. One little leg off my TV table that I don't even understand the physics of this, but somehow it stands quite stable on 3 legs. I don't get that. They're really short legs. I don't know. Eric said it's something about the weight of the TV on it. I don't know. Anyway, nothing's broken. Everything's in great shape. And if I were to come to this place and then go buy furniture to fit in it, it couldn't fit better. Like, everything is just like perfect, the way everything fit in here. So it was just crazy. I mean, so it's just so much joy, and so nice, because I am so domestic. And for many years, I have been on long before she wrote the book, is it The Joy of Tidying Up or whatever? The woman who's become so famous in the last few years for decluttering. And, her thing is to go through your house and pick up every object and really ask yourself, does this bring me joy? And if it doesn't, come to the level of joy, you should get rid of it. Well, I've been living like that for years. Like I've moved a lot. I've not lived in large places ever. Even when I had four kids at home, I never had a large home. So I'm not a pack rat by nature, so anyway, I live pretty, slimmed down in that regard. But it was, so everything that came out of that pod is just like something I love, and it just feels so good to be surrounded by all these things that I love. So it's been a great, tiring, but really great weekend. And, first part of the week here getting settled. And I'm so comfortable here. My son and his wife live here in Huntington Beach. So I've visited here lots of times. Like it just feels like home already. So I am ready to go. I've got my appointment next week to get my driver's license and my license plate, because you're supposed to do that in 10 days. And you have to take you have to take a written driver's test in California, and they're hard.
Oh, wow.
Like super tricky technical questions. My daughter-in-law, Lee, said one of the questions she got was, how long can you leave your baby or child in a car unattended? And one of the answers, right. Well, one of the answers she said was never, which of course she chose, and that was wrong. Like by law, there's 3 minutes or something that you can go. I guess if you're running to the mailbox or something like that, that could happen. I don't know. But so I got to study for that. But there's little practice exams and stuff you can do to get yourself ready for it. But anyways, that's on my schedule for next week. But anyway, I'm happy to be here and grateful, for the whole hellacious, crazy ride.
Yeah, but isn't that true that we just learn so much from things, and we might not get it at the time and might hate it at the time, but then it just kind of, I mean, I can relate to not the same experience, but as much as I would perhaps want things to be different in my life, I still don't wish anything different would have happened, or I wouldn't have taken something out of it, because I'm afraid I wouldn't be the same person without those trials and tribulations, so.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, what's happening here?
We're back to your photo. I mean, it's a beautiful photo, but
I got a phone call at the same time here. Yeah.
So it is so true. I mean, they are all the things that make us who we are, all those experiences. And even though some of them weren't fun, I mean, that's just still part of it. I mean, most all of us have our biggest growth leaps, when really from something that was really very difficult. It just seems to be the way of it for the most part. So that's where I'm at.
I
Very
watched a show, a CNN special that was 3 or 4 parts. I fell asleep eventually, but it was about Garth Brooks, the country singer. And he's married to Trisha Yearwood now, and he's a very thoughtful young man. And he said that he realized, and his father told him, and he finally realized it was true, that everything in life is, and he did it with his hands, everything in life is a blessing and a curse. And so it depends how you use it, what you do with it, whether it's a blessing or a curse. And he wrote a song called The Dance. And one of the lines is, I could have missed the pain, but then I'd have had to miss the dance. And watching this show, he met his first wife at a dance in college. And he said to her, why aren't you dancing with me? And she said, you didn't ask. And that was that. They were together until they were finished. And they both knew they were finished. But it was so much of what you're saying. Like, he was intuitive about it. She was too. And, but he said everything in life, you know, when he went to Nashville the first time, thought he was going to become a star. He was in Nashville for 24 hours and he left and said, I'm not ready for this. And he went home and he hid. But anyway, so I get what you're saying, but I just always thought you were a coach. And I think I'm glad you went where you did and learned what you did.
Yeah, thank you.
I enjoy your Wednesdays. I do. And
good.
Well, I think, Brenda, you probably really, truly always were a coach. Like, even if that wasn't your title, I feel that that's how you have been that's how you are. And even in your different management roles and different roles you've had, you've still been a coach. So yeah.
Yes. I mean, now I look back on it and I realize that, you know, when I was doing it, I didn't always see that. But
sure.
Once I got my coach training, it really made me look at my real estate career differently. And I was like, oh, actually, most of what I've been doing has been coaching people to how to grow their business or how to be a better leader or how to, you know, whatever, set boundaries, how to, you know, even the business stuff, how to fire people, how to, you know, whatever, hire people, all the things. It's still, there's an element of coaching to all of that because people, I was on a call today with somebody whose name I won't name, but Nilly, you will know who it is. And he's just like bossing, barking orders at people. This is supposed to be a leadership call, you know, and he's just like, well, do this, do that, do this. And somebody asked a question. He was like, well, now you're getting in the weeds and I'm not going to let you go there. And I was just so appalled because like, there's no teaching in that. And there's certainly no coaching, and he professes to be a coach, but when you're just barking information at people, it is not helpful in the learning curve, you know? And but that happens all the time. I mean, you see it in all organizations and you know, places all the time. People get in some sort of elevated quote unquote leadership role and they really don't know how to do that. And yeah, that even in that respect, like the teaching I do for Suburban West, you know, who's now Tri-County.
Yes.
Yes. Because you're probably in, that's your, Montgomery was your board, wasn't it? Yeah. So are you in Tri-County or did you move over to Bucks?
Bucks.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, that's really what the whole 2 days is I'm doing there is coaching those people on how to be leaders, you know? So yeah, so thank you. Thank you for that affirmation.
And I love Anne Marie.
Yeah.
Something you need, well, I don't know if you need to know it, but I don't know if you realize how much impact you had on people that you were in that PAR leadership class. We were there for days and nights, and it was very intense. Yeah. And, you know, trying to do business at the same time and the whole deal. Right. But it was so intense. I still have, on my desk, I have a stand-up file folder. And it's a stand-up file. And in the back of it, there's still a paper that you gave us.
Oh.
I think it was a test, but every once in a while, when I need to pull something out, I pull it out and just look it over and think about it. Yeah, yeah. I've got lots of stuff over the years, and I finally started pitching some stuff, but because I am the opposite. I am a hoarder, yeah. So, but I still have that, and I still look at it. And think about it. Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Lesson. Yeah. It's nice to see how, I mean, a lot of people definitely went on to high level leadership positions from it. I mean, a lot of people really took that, what they got from it and, you know, ran with it in that regard.
And so that's fun. You know, I haven't been so far away that I didn't see, you know, at least what a lot of the people were doing. So yeah, so that's nice, and nice to know. So thank you. Yeah. So how about you ladies? How can I support you today? How's everybody feeling? You must be jet lagged, Nilla.
I am actually, but I was just so, you know, wanting to call in. But now I'm sitting here, I'm feeling a little cross-eyed.
Right.
So I'm like, maybe that wasn't the smartest idea. But no, I'm good. Like, and Joyce, just so you know, I'm from Sweden, and I just went back to Sweden to visit with my parents for a week, and I just got back yesterday, and had some intense, I guess is the best word to say, conversations with my parents, and without going into too much detail because you'll fall asleep. You know, just think of it like we all have family stuff, right? So it's just something that my family hasn't been really good about talking about it. You know, it's just always kind of glossed over or thrown under the rug, or, you know, or just supposed to kind of deal with it in whatever way, but not talk about it, because what could be better from that?
What good will that do?
What good would that do? So during this week, you know, it was good. We had some of that conversation, or went in a little bit further into it than what we normally would. And so that was good. It was hard, but it was good. So I'm kind of happy about that it happened. And yeah, if I think back on it, like, I'm still like cringe a little bit, like, oh, maybe I should have said something differently, or like, was that too mean, or was that too forward, but that's, I think, is just
hard.
Yeah, like, I can't second guess it. It was good. And in, you know, we all talked normal after it. After this intense period, we went back to pretending that it wasn't there anymore. So that was, in a sense, okay, because it meant that, you know, nobody was too thrown off by it or couldn't handle it, you know. So we had some normal days after the conversation, which was fine. So
that's what I was worried about, because sometimes people can't, like, they just can't, once their apple cart gets upset, they go back to any sort of, this is not every single thing about our lives, can we go back to something else, you know? So I wondered about that, with just the timing of when all that hit and you're coming home and everything. So that, I'm happy, you know, for that, at least. Too. Yeah. Thank you.
Family is just, man.
Not for the faint of heart.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for sharing that.
I like this new Zoom thing you're doing.
Thank you. We just need more people to find it. I had 3 people last week, or maybe there was 4 of us. 3 people and me, so 4 of us.
Yeah.
But this is only the first 2 weeks we've done it on Zoom. Because that stupid Facebook won't let me go on a live still. They're still blocking me. Yeah. For no reasons they won't explain, nor can I contest them. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. It happened the day, because I Googled it, of course. I'm like, what in the world? I can't, I mean, I do Facebook Lives a lot. You know? And so I'm Googling it, and something happened in the world. It was several weeks ago on a Tuesday. It was why I was, you know, I think it was when I was in Wyoming, but anyway, I was in Pennsylvania, and somebody was doing a very violent Facebook Live. And by somebody, I mean, I think it was an organization or something, but anyway, it's still a person shows up on camera, right? And they were a lot of hate speech, some real violent stuff. So all of a sudden that day, Facebook says, okay, no more. Like, we now have a policy that we can block people from, doing Facebook Lives. If we think that there's, violence or hate speech, these things that violate the community rules kind of thing. Well, that same day, of course, I didn't know this at the time because I hadn't Googled it yet. I got a message from Facebook saying I had suspicious activity on my account. It's I get this all the time. It's where somebody's trying to hack into my account, and I've got double authentication stuff set up. And so it's just like, if this isn't you, go in and change your password, so, okay. So it wasn't me. I go in and change my password and I do all that. But that was the day I got blocked from doing Facebook Lives. And so it took me a day or two. I mean, of course, if I just thought, what's wrong? I'm doing something wrong. Whatever. I always think if a technology glitch occurs, it must be me, right? User error. And so for a day or two, I just kind of blew it off and didn't go live and whatever. And then it was a Cocktails and Coaching, I think. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then I Googled it, and all of that happened on the same day. So I think somehow I got caught in whatever their crackdown was, or whoever was trying to get into my account. I don't know, but it just seems like a funny coincidence. And you're blocked for 30 days or longer. So it's not been 30 days. I can't remember exactly the date, but it's been, maybe this is 3 weeks now. So we'll see back. There's a little box that says, you can click here if you don't agree with the decision, but it doesn't. So I do that, but it doesn't take you anywhere where you can then like fill out.
That's so annoying.
Facebook is so awful with this kind of stuff. So I'm glad they are. I mean, I'm happy that they're not letting people do super violent, hateful Facebook Lives. I'm happy about that. But I don't know how I got caught in that. So, but I like Zoom because we can have this conversation. So in a way, I like Zoom better. I just got people used to Facebook, and so it's always hard to migrate them into a new platform. And I would do a Facebook Live and explain it, but I can't.
Oh,
whatever. But yeah, we have to keep trying to spread the word and get folks back in with us on Zoom here for Cocktails and Coaching.
It sounds good.
Yeah. Well, all right, ladies, it's 5:45. So if no one has anything they want to bring to me to help you with tonight, then I think we'll call it a wrap, and you late night girls can go to bed.
That sounds good. It was so nice to see you both, and have a great night.
Thank you. I'm so happy you were both here. Yeah.
Where are you in Bucks County, Mila?
I'm in Percy.
Okay. I'm about 15 minutes away over in Green Lane.
Oh, really? Oh, yes. Yeah. I think we've been on a call before.
I think we have.
Because that sounds very familiar, because our friend Claire lives in Green Lane.
Yes. Yeah.
And it feels like we've had that epiphany before.
Yeah.
But that's great. Yeah, you're super close by.
I am. And that's why I switched
I love Zoom better than Facebook Live, because when it comes up in the chat, it's like, oh yeah, we're all, because there was a night on Cocktails and Coaching where I think Claire was on too, and the three of you had that little, but when you're looking at the person's little tiny face in their Facebook profile, and in a message thing, comments thing in Facebook Live, it's harder to make that connection, whereas on Zoom, it's really easy.
Yeah.
So I love this platform so much more in the grand scheme of things, for all of that. So anyway, we'll just keep working.
Yeah.
Wish you all the best.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Good luck in
all
your
right.
home.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.